Hey y'all, it's Jen and welcome back to my channel Ifers Inklings. Today's video is gonna be my audiobook wrap-up video for January 2018. Where am I? For January 2019. Stick around to see what audiobooks I listened to in the month of January. Hey y'all, it's Jen, and as I said in my intro, this is my audiobook wrap-up video for January of 2019. This is going to be done in parts. I want to wrap up each book as I read them, or close to when I read them, so that I can be sure and give you all the details about the audiobook that you would like to know. Details that I may forget after I've listened to 4 or 5 audiobooks in a row. So the first audiobook that I finished up so far this month is Legion by Julie Kagawa. That is the 4th book in the Talon series. And this is a series about dragons and humans and how they interact together. And Talon is the corporation of dragons that wants to rule all the other dragons. And then we also have rogue dragons that don't want any part of Talon because Talon is a big corporation and not necessarily making the right decisions. And then we also have a group, and I can't remember what they're called, but there's a group of humans that hunt dragons. They are trained killers of the dragons, and they are at war, and they don't see the good in any dragons. They're just all demons and must die. So this is the 4th book of the saga. I'm not going to tell you much about the plot of it because I don't want to ruin anything, and if I talk about it, then there's going to be spoilers for the first 3 books. So this will be just about the audiobook. I did give it, the book itself, 4 stars. I really enjoyed this series, and the audiobook experience was really phenomenal because it is told by a cast of characters. Caitlin Davies, Tristan Morris, McLeod Andrews, Chris Patton are all the narrators here. So that is 4 different points of view for this audiobook, or for this book itself. And so each point of view is read by a different narrator. I really enjoyed that, and it gave me such an amazing experience because I was able to keep all the characters separated, and there is a lot of characters in this series. This particular audiobook is 11 hours and 48 minutes. So you're going to be there a while. I do listen to it on 2 times speed, so it makes it a little quicker, but I'm sure it's just as enjoyable at regular speed. So that is really all I can say about this audiobook. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the cast of characters for each point of view. The second book I finished this month is Inferno, by Julie Kagawa, which is the 5th book and final book in this series. It has the same narrators in it, same cast of characters, and that is one thing I really enjoyed. The narrators have stayed the same throughout the whole 5-book series, and so you get used to, especially like me, I tend to listen to my series back to back to back, if possible, and so I can easily distinguish who is talking by the voice. Inferno is 11 hours and 25 minutes, and like I said, it is the final book in the saga, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So if you're looking for a really good audiobook that is young adult, it does have some language in it. And there's violence because they're at war. But if you are looking for a really good young adult kind of fantasy type book, then these might be ones that you want to check out, especially if you're looking for something on audio. If you're new to audio and looking for something that is going to be really enjoyable and keep your attention, I think this would be a great option for you, the Talon series. Hey guys, I wanted to jump in here for a quick second because I did not read any physical books in the month of January, so this will be my all book wrap up as well as just my audio specific wrap up as well. So back to the video. I am here with the next set of audiobooks I've listened to. One I'm skipping because I will feature it in a different video that is a surprise right now, and I don't want to give anything away. So the next book that I've read so far in January is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. It is a 6-hour and 39-minute audiobook that I listened to. It is narrated by Tom Steitzenschulte. This is a classic novel about a journey that a man and a boy take. It's obviously a post-apocalyptic world. Don't know exactly what happens. You get the impression at the beginning that maybe it might be nuclear, or it could be maybe volcanic. I kind of lean towards more that it was a super volcano that destroyed the world. Or at least North America. There is not a lot of people around, so life was not sustained. And you get the impression that they are in either southern Canada or northern United States, and they are traveling to get to the coast. We don't know how long after the events that this apocalyptic action happened. There's a lot of unanswered questions here. It's not a happy, jolly book at all. It is dark. It is depressing. It is not very hopeful. I'm not sure what word I'm looking for there. I did not enjoy this book for a lot of different reasons. Content-wise, is, just because it's a dark and depressing world, is not the reason I didn't enjoy it. There was just a lot missing out of this book, a lot left out. And the audiobook, it was okay. I enjoyed the voice of the narrator as far as his tone and his narration style. So he's not a bad narrator. I did listen to it on 2x speed, but that doesn't really make a lot of a difference because that's what I listen to most of my audiobooks on. It was just an okay book and just an okay audiobook, so take from that what you will. The next one I listened to was Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson, and I had to drop this down to 1.5 speed at the beginning, and then I bumped it up to 1.75 speed for it because her voice, Jenny Lawson reads her audiobook, but her voice is at a range or a pitch, or I'm not sure what you would call it, that it sounded very distorted at the 2x speed, and I just couldn't deal with it, so I had to drop it down so it was more of it sounded more normal. I loved this audiobook. It's a memoir. If you're not familiar with her by that name, she is a popular blogger called The Bloggess, and she is hysterical. Laugh out loud, holding my sides, tears rolling down my face, hysterical. There is one mention, there's a scene in the book that I first read about on her blog, and that was about her anniversary present to her husband, and that was the big metal rooster that she named Beyonce. And even just thinking about it makes me want to laugh. She is funny in the way that she tells her stories, and relatable as an individual. I mean, I just love her anyway, and her audiobook was fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to memoirs more than reading them, because I feel like the person's telling me their stories themselves. Clearly, I gave that one 5 stars. The next one that I listened to was Alex and Eliza by Melissa Dela Cruz. This one is 9 hours and 49 minutes. I did listen to it on 2x speed. It is narrated by Cassandra Campbell, and I thought she did a phenomenal job with her narration. I really immensely enjoyed the story. The book itself is great. It is kind of a fictionalized historical fiction about Alexander Hamilton and his wife Elizabeth, and I can't remember her maiden name, but she goes by Eliza. And it is the first book in a series. I don't know how many's in this series, but it was really great, really cute. I really was fascinated by it. I don't know how much historical fact is in it with this story, but I'm interested enough that I want to continue on with it. It seems like quite a bit of it is very factually accurate or historically accurate. Historically accurate. Alex and Eliza, I gave 5 stars to. The next book that I listened to this month was Geek Girl, which is the first book in a series by Holly Smale, S-M-A-E-L-E. This is narrated by Katie Sobey, and it is 8 hours and 2 minutes long. This one is another one that I had to bump my speed down to 1.5 speed because the narrator has a British accent, and at the higher 2-point speed, I couldn't understand a damn thing she was saying. So I had to back it down. This is a cute little story about a girl who is not considered to be model material, who gets picked up to be a model. She's a little kooky, she's a little strange, she's a little weird. She is socially awkward, but the modeling agency sees something in her and picks her up to be a model for this campaign. And it goes through her adventures through that. There's a little bit of a competition because her best friend, her sole desire in life has been to become a model, and her best friend didn't get picked up. There's also a bully in here that's really prevalent, and then there is a boy that has a crush on Harriet and is very much a stalker and is perfectly okay with that. I really, really enjoyed this story. I thought it was really super cute and fun, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I listened to this month was Broken Beautiful Hearts by Cami Garcia. This book is 9 hours and 54 minutes long, and it is narrated by Brittany Presley. I listened to this one at 2 times speed, and it was phenomenal. I loved this book so much. I think I officially gave it 4 stars, but it follows a girl who is dating this guy who thinks everybody in the world thinks he is the most perfect person in the world. He's an MMA fighter, and he comes from a home that he is kind of one of the supporters of his mom and his sister. And because of this, he's so high stressed, and he decides that he needs to do some doping in order to be bumped up to the next weight class and win more money, prize money, and competitions. Well, his girlfriend finds out, and she confronts him on it, and he ends up pushing her down the stairs at this party and then denies it. She is severely injured, and then he becomes very stalkerish himself, and then she gets sent to, her mom ends up sending her to her uncle's house to live with her uncle and her cousins and go to school in a small town in Kentucky, I believe. And there she meets another boy who also happens to be an MMA fighter, and it goes from there. She is very much trying to not date or not fall in love or not get involved, whatever, because she is terrified of making the wrong decision because she's already made a poor decision. She already didn't see that her ex-boyfriend was the garbage that he turned out to be. So I really loved this story. It really probably should have been 4.5 stars, but the narration on this audiobook was great as well. The characters, her voice, all of that was perfect. And then the last book that I've listened to so far at this point in the month is Model Misfit, which is the second book in the Geek Girl series, by Holly Smale, S-M-A-L-E, I don't know. It is also narrated by Katie Sobey, and it is 8 hours long. Now, at this point, I'm used to her accent, so I was able to bump it up to 1.75 speed to a 2-point speed and listen to it just fine. But there is a heavy British accent, so, which is fine because the character is British. There are characters that have other accents in there, and she does a phenomenal job with that. There are 2 characters that sound an awful lot alike that I had trouble distinguishing between, but they weren't such a huge part in there that it wasn't, context I was able to determine rather than just voice. But it's a cute story. I'm not going to go into it because it's the second book in the series, but it is just equally as cute as the first, and I gave it 4 stars as well. So far, we are up to 9 audiobooks that I've listened to. I have actually checked all of these out from my library as well. I have talked about 8 of the 9 so far in this video. The other one you will see at a later point in time in a special video. So up to this point, we've got everything except for my one final book, and that is the 3rd book in the Geek Girl series, which is which is Picture Perfect by Holly Smale. I don't know how to say this. S-M-A-L-E. This is narrated by Katie Sobey, and it is 8 hours long. This is another one because of the accent of the narrator, which is needed for the book because the book is set in England. I did have to listen to at a lower speed. I had it on 1.75 speed because 2 times speed was just a little bit too much for me. But I really enjoy this narrator because, like I said, she does a great job at the different voices in it. And she carried them through very well across all 3 books. From book 1, the character that I was listening to was the same character in the book 3. Their voices matched. All in all, I really enjoyed the book. I won't get into spoilers on it because it is the 3rd book in the series. So, but it does follow our main character, who is a model, but she's not really good at modeling, and her family. So with that said, I did end up giving the book 4 stars. It was my least favorite of the 3 books in this series. So that is all the audiobooks that I listened to. I did check out all of these from the library. I DNF'd 2 books this month, which was an audiobook that I will tell you about at a later time. And there was nothing wrong with the narration of the book. It was just a story that I just really could not get into. It just wasn't for me. And then the other book that I DNF'd was a book that an arc that I was reading on my Kindle, Annalise by David Gilham. And I think that this book probably has an audience. I'm just not that audience. Which is a little bit strange because it is World War II based, Nazi Germany, Holocaust related, and that's usually my thing. I just didn't enjoy the voice of this character or this writing or whatever. It is a fictionalized telling of the Anne Frank diaries. It follows Anne Frank, Annalise, hence the name Annalise. It just, like I said, it wasn't for me. I didn't gel with the writing style, and it just didn't captivate me. So I just, about 25 pages in, I went ahead and just DNF'd it. That is it for my audiobook / all book wrap up for the month of January. I read absolutely no physical books this month. I got to do better next month. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these books, if you have listened to any of these books, if you enjoyed the narration of them, if you listened to them, or what you thought about the books in general if you did read them. Also, let me know if you're going to pick up any of these books based on this wrap-up. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Go ahead and give me a like, subscribe, leave me a comment down below, and be sure and check back at the end of February for my February books I listened to on audio wrap-up. And hopefully I'll have a separate video for my all book wrap-up for the month of February. And until then, I'll talk to you later. Bye.